Chris Grailing MP.
Your Holiness, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honour and pleasure to be able to join you this evening for this important event. Your Holiness, it's also a great honour to share in the work that you and your colleagues are doing to promote peace and harmony both here and around the world. I bring with me tonight the very best wishes of my party leader, David Cameron, and all of my parliamentary colleagues. We trust that tonight's event will make a further important contribution to all of your efforts to secure peace and understanding between different faiths. It's a particular pleasure to visit you at this particular mosque, as I began my political career in the London Borough of Merton. I served as a councillor on the local council here before I became a Member of Parliament, and I well remember the preparatory works for the construction of this mosque. There's no doubt that since its inauguration in 2003, it has become an important local landmark as well as an important centre for faith and for dialogue. To me, one of the most important aspects of your faith is the way it looks outwards and not inwards, the way in which it promotes community involvement rather than separation from the community more generally. Members of your faith do important humanitarian work around the world and here in the United Kingdom. I am hugely impressed and grateful for the support that you've provided in the UK to charities like Save the Children Fund, Great Ormond Street Hospital for Children and Cancer Research UK, and that you've succeeded in raising over £1 million for charities over the past decade through your annual charity works. I also particularly applaud you for the work that you do with the homeless. All of this is an important part of ensuring that we create community harmony rather than suspicion between individual parts of our community. Your marathon walks are a good example of this and show a faith that recognises that being part of a community is about serving the community at large. I also think an important part of what you do is your work with young people. Engaging young people is an important part of tackling many of the biggest problems that face our society. Too often young people today feel they lack a sense of purpose in life and have little or no ownership of the community around them. The consequences of that can range from antisocial behaviour to extremism and addiction. Work to engage and involve our young people, help them develop their skills and give them a sense of direction is therefore of exceptional importance, and the importance that you all place on this is well founded. My colleagues and I place huge importance on the relationship we have with you and the whole of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in the United Kingdom. We seek to build strong ties with all the different groups in our community, but we particularly recognise the strong ties we have with you. I know you have close links with many of my most senior colleagues, Dominic Grieve, Jeremy Hunt, Francis Maud and Syed Avasi from the Shadow Cabinet, and from a more local perspective, our local MPs Stephen Hammond and Justine, who's with me on the platform tonight. I became Shadow Home Secretary, as you heard a moment ago, back in January, and I'm very pleased to be able to build my own personal links with your community, not just because it is an important part of my national job, but of course I'm also a local MP myself down the road in Epsom and Ewell. I there represent a number of you in Parliament, a number of members of your community, and I was particularly delighted recently to hold a discussion with a group from your community who live in my constituency, and I know some of that group are here tonight. I offer you my best wishes. But in my new national role, I think it's of particular importance to build ties with different parts of the community and to try to ensure that we build an understanding of the challenges we face in a cosmopolitan society. Your faith understands more than many the dangers that extremism brings with it and the pain that it can cause. It is all of our duty to try to provide a counterbalance to extremism and to win over those who might be tempted by it. For me, in my new role, that means building a close understanding of the sources of extremism, and particularly the extremist threat that has emerged from a small part of the Islamic faith. But it's not just within the Islamic faith that we find extremism. It now manifests itself in too many parts of our life. It can be found on the far right of politics here in Europe. Happily, in this country, it remains a marginal political force, and we very much hope, and I think all of us from different parties will work hard to ensure that that remains the case. It can also be found in some of the extreme forms of nationalism that remain both here, as we sadly saw in Northern Ireland recently, and as we see in many other parts of the world. That's why an event like this is so important. That's why the role of those who broker and support peace is so important. We cannot hope to simply combat extremism through force. We have to show people that there is another way, a better way, that is built on tolerance, on mutual understanding and on respect. We have to stand up together for those values and shout them from the rooftops. That's why, Your Holiness, I applaud the work that you and those who follow you do. We all share that duty to promote peace and harmony. We all share the duty to break down divides within our national community and in other parts of the world. We all have a duty to stand up against extremism and persecution. That, to my mind, is central to what our leading faiths do and should stand for. Our goal should be to see a world where Muslims, Jews, Hindus, Christians and others live together in peace and harmony and tolerance. And I know that this event tonight and the work that you are all doing will help us take an important step towards that goal. Thank you.